9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.
Oh, I guess we all had to unmute ourselves. Hey.
Hello there.
Hey, this is a Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. You're gonna like that. And this is the Women's Wrestling Army after show. We got another close-up. How is everyone? I'll go down the line. How are you, Aisha?
You know, I'm here. And I'm happy for it. That's that.
Happy to be here.
Internet is doing what it's doing. I am so sorry, y'all. It looks like my internet is the problem this week. Lyric, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Can't complain.
And Shay, how are you?
I'm breathing. I woke up breathing this morning, so it's already going pretty well, I would say. Hey, Cool Gamer, how are you? Cool Gamer does not miss every episode, the first one in.
We appreciate that. You know who haven't seen in a minute on here? Maybe it was while I was gone. JD, where you at?
JD is too busy unfollowing me, and then follow me again on Instagram. That is what JD is doing.
You know what? JD is busy doing his thing. What's up, JD? We'll see you. He's usually in Dynamite and some of the other ones. But anyway, why don't we go ahead and jump right into it?
Yes, Ashley D'Amboise. I love her. Like, the more stuff I see of her, the more I'm like, she has such an infectious personality. Like, the way she just like talks and just explains things, I'm just like, I like you. And then like her in-ring is like, I really find it so intriguing. I love the names of her moves, which she'll go over later. So we'll just get into it, I guess. What were your first, like, for both of you, like, what were your first overall thoughts of the episode?
I really like her because I've seen her on like Ring of Honor, seen her a little bit with AEW. So I was actually really excited to get a more close-up, in-depth view of like, who she is. Obviously, everything that I've seen from her has been like really kind of short matches. So it was really cool to kind of really get more depth into, who she is. And so, yeah, I was really excited about it.
Same.
I appreciate you. All right, so let's start. Right away, we have Alyssa Marino, who's been basically the head of these close-ups for the last few episodes. And her first question to Ashley was, what emotions were you feeling as you got ready for your WWA debut? She said it was a little overwhelming, a lot of powerful women in the locker room, and went in with no expectations except to put her best foot forward. And she thinks that she did that. And I'll just add the other question in here too. She asked, can you take us through the mentality of approaching a first-time matchup? Her first-time matchup being with Tootie, Lynn, Ramsey. And she basically said she never met Tootie before, had to quickly study up, says she likes to use her legs as well, but more in a power way. And I kind of got what she meant by that, because I feel like Tootie's more striking, whereas Ashley's more like methodical in it. And it's like she's trying to plant them because she has some great legs. It's like, yeah, okay. What were your thoughts on her responses to those two questions?
Yeah, I think it's really cool that she's come so far to say that she has such little experience. Apparently, like, she started wrestling in 2021, which is insane. Like, she's already been on TV and like come so far. And another thing that they said at the beginning is just talking. People always say wrestling is not ballet. And that's like, I hate when people say that, because ballet is really, really hard. It's extremely hard. And you can tell that's how her legs got like that. It's because of dancers have like the world's strongest legs. And yeah, so I really like how, how that training has informed, pro wrestling, because I think that people who come from a dancing background typically tend to really adapt well to pro wrestling. Like we've seen it happen a couple of times. So I thought it was great.
I'm also going to have to agree, as someone who took minimal ballet, and we'll talk about her moves later on. It's incredibly difficult, and I think people just really overlook it. And they overlook how difficult it is to be graceful in that way. And for Ashley to translate that to in ring, I think that's what makes her moves look so smooth, is because she already has that center of gravity. It's not something that she had to learn. She tried, improve it and use it in a different way with wrestling, but she already has a sense of her body and how her body moves in the space, obviously, which makes for fantastic wrestling. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I actually like that you bring that up, because it kind of makes me think back to Layla L and how she, she started out as a dancer, but I feel like once she wanted to commit to wrestling, it was pretty easy for her to transition because she already had that dance background in her. This girl, like, I can't. But yeah, you guys get what I mean. So we move on to Tootie Lynn Ramsey versus Ashley Demoise. I'll go over some of the small, things that went on in this match. So right away, we started with Tootie giving an elbow to Ashley in the corner, following by with multiple kicks. We then had Ashley have her in the corner, giving kicks to the chest to Tootie. Ashley was very cocky throughout this. That's one thing I will say about Ashley. Like, she has a lot of personality in the ring. Like, she will talk crap. Like God. But I love it though. And then we had her, she hit a scoop slam and talked some more trash. She also caught, Tootie caught Ashley with a crossbody, but Ashley rolled over and caught a 2 count. Ashley had been working Tootie's spine in the match for a good majority of the time. So eventually Tootie hit another crossbody, but this one is successful and she gets a pin attempt. Tootie kicked Ashley in the chest multiple times, then a kick to the face for a pin attempt. Eventually, Ashley hit La Grande Bombe for the win. What were your thoughts on this match, just from the highlights that we got?
Yeah, she has a lot of charisma for somebody who just started wrestling. Like, she really has the mannerisms, just the way that she carries herself, how she presents herself to the crowd, how she presents herself to her opponent. She has a lot of veteran instincts, which is very interesting. And like I said, like, her arms are strong as hell. Not arms. I mean, those two, but the legs. Yeah.
Sorry, my internet is still doing things. So if y'all ask me a question and you see I'm not answering for a while, it's probably because I'm way behind. So I'm gonna try to keep my comments to a minimum.
All right, understandable. Yep. So I mean, we finished with that match, and then we had some more questions after from Alyssa Marino, basically saying, "What do you feel like you learned about Tootie?" And she said her speed. Said Tootie made her look at her responsiveness in a different way, which I think is a really intelligent response. I don't hear a lot of people say stuff like that, like, "Oh, they made me take a look back at my responsiveness." So I'm like, I don't really hear that a lot. And then Alyssa also asked her about grabbing Tootie's tights at one point for the pin. And she said, no one can blame her for trying to do whatever it takes to win. Exactly. And then I'm going to go over this third one just to kind of, get some out there. How was she feeling after that strong first impression? And she basically said she was on a high after that. And the real first sit down reflection was right then at that moment. So from those 3 questions, what were you guys' thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's just more of she gets it. Like, she gets the game. She's very confident in her abilities, but that confidence also comes from a place of knowing, I think, how new she is to wrestling. So she's always working on the little things, trying to get better, always trying to focus on, How can I improve communication with my opponent? And also taking things from her opponent and learning. So it's very clear that she's a student of the game and that she's committed to getting better with every match.
That is so true. Like, I definitely get, like, I don't know what it is, but it's like with her, like, I feel like she has everything, which is crazy to say, but I know because you don't want to be like, she has everything, but it's like, I feel like she does because it's like, she has a great character. She's great at talking. Her in-ring is so great. And just like her persona, like she has it all down packed. Like I really am such a fan of her. She then kind of talks about how do the seasons differ? And this is kind of something that I know Aisha was talking about a little bit in the beginning with us before we got on about her with her bodybuilding. She basically saying that she was in transition to go back on season at that point. She was back to meal prepping, but not weighing anything, out or anything like that. I didn't know that she was a bodybuilder. This is my first time.
I didn't know that either.
Okay, it's good. I don't feel too bad. I'm like, I didn't know. I mean, what can she do at this point? I guess, So let me go and see here. And then they also asked, Alyssa asked, what was she saying in French for her match with Layna Lennox? I'm sorry, this cracked me up because she said that she was saying "femme la bouche," and the fans thought it meant "do it again," so they just kept saying "femme la bouche" over and over, but it actually meant "shut your mouth." I'm sorry, that cracked me up, and she was so tickled by it. I get why you would be, because these fans are thinking that they're saying "do it again," but they're actually saying "shut your mouth" over and over.
That's wrestling in a lot of times we don't know what we're saying. Once something catches on, it'll be the stupidest thing. I notice a lot with like Japanese wrestling. Like people have no idea what they're saying, but they just know that it's commonly said, so they'll just say it. Yeah, that's wrestling for you.
Isn't it such a fun, interesting sport?
Absolutely.
So then we had let me see. She kind of spoke on the names of her moves. She said one was La Grande de Bombe, like La Grande Bombe. La Grande Bombe, did I say it right? I took French for a year. Like, I have to get it together, actually.
Me too. I took it for 2 years. I didn't do well.
Let's not talk about it. Listen, let's not bring up our trauma. She said that she coined this term because it's supposed to be like the rock bottom, but it's just in French. I was like, okay, that's cool. Yeah. What do you think of like the creativity of that? Like, I didn't think that it had any connection to the rock bottom.
I mean, to be quite honest, she could have said literally anything in French and we would have just probably gone with it just because we have no idea what's happening here. I will say, I think that's the coolest thing about like foreigners in wrestling. Like whenever they come up with like foreign names of wrestling moves, that always catches on. Like, for example, Shinsuke Nakamura, Kinshasa. I still don't know what that means, but I love saying it. Kinshasa! It's fantastic.
Aisha, what do you think about the connection between the rock bottom and La Grande Bombe?
I mean, I think it's a great name. Again, I think it's, obviously we tend to over romanticize other languages that are not English. So as long as it sounds good, usually we're on board. And so I feel like that's where we are.
Absolutely.
That's very true. She also spoke about one of her other moves, Le Tour de Cou, which was the flipping neck breaker that she does from outside the ropes that we always kind of pop for. I feel like every time she has a match and she does it, we're like, oh, at least I am. And then another one, she said like she wanted her moves to be based from either French or from dance. I like that. I thought that was very cool. And then she also said one more move was Le Pas de Chat, which is the leg drop, which I thought is a really cool move that she does because I don't see a lot of people do it at all. What do you guys think about these two moves? Like, how do you feel about them?
I mean, I was excited about the Pas de Chat because I was like, oh, I know that means step of the cat, right? That is a ballet move. So like, I feel like I remember two ballet moves from that was traumatizing. Talk about traumatizing. Get yourself in a ballet class. and be prepared to cry every time. So Padishah, I was like, okay, Step of the Cat, I get it. I understand how she's trying to connect it. But yeah, again, she's great. One thing actually I was gonna say was that like I didn't realize, I don't know why, like her being from Florida, I got like that out of my head. Like I completely forgot that she was from Florida. And so just because she's speaking all this French and you just like, you're like, oh yeah, she's like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. But I'm like, oh yeah, Florida, you are from Florida, babe. That's it.
I like that she uses French and ballet in her moves. I will say, like in wrestling, I always think that like diversity is its greatest strength. I think that a lot of times people are always known for their cultural heritage. And so like when your moves, your gear, anything like that identifies with obviously like where you come from, it tends to make you more memorable. And so I think that this was a great branding move for her, for sure.
Totally agree. I think it's cool and it sets her apart for sure.
Definitely.
Apart from everything else that sets her apart.
Yes.
But I think this would be a good time to, get into a commercial. I don't know. What you saying? All right. Well, be right back.
BRB.
Hey peeps, TK Trinidad here, boss lady of Women's Wrestling Talk. And I want to say thank you so much for watching, because you've got millions of options. Plus, you don't have to worry about sharing your password to check us out. But while you're here, hopefully you know we have so many more shows to watch, like Turnbuckle Glam, Raw post-show, WoW post-show, AEW Dynamite post-show, Women's Wrestling Army post-show, NXT post-show, Impact Wrestling post-show, AEW Rampage and SmackDown Live post-show, On the Scroll, ROH post-show, WWT Live, plus all of our interviews with the hottest women's wrestlers in the game. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. Check out our website at www.talkpod.com and follow us on all social media platforms at www.talkpod, and make sure to spread the word. That means send this to the group chat. Yes, even the person with the green bubble. Thanks again so much for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Ciao for now.
You good?
Yeah, the video started again. Did you?
I didn't see it, but
but we're back, and so we have Ashley versus Layna Lennox this time around. This was the match with the funny chant. I remember when we first saw this. This is a little bit before Lyric joined us. And when we went over this match, I remember there were other matches that night, for that episode, and we agreed this was like our favorite. Like they were hustling.
Mm-hmm. They were. I think I was, and I'll reiterate it when I first saw it, like that I was surprised that like Layna, like that she did as well as she did, because remember we were first introduced to her via Max the Impaler, and Max the Impaler, baby, I was like, Layna, I am so sorry. We got nothing. That was essentially a squash match. And so to see her back here and we actually see her skills, it was really great for me. And yes, greatly enjoyed this match.
No, honestly, that's so true. Like, only so much you can do against Max, honestly. So getting into the match, there was a lot of hold trading in the beginning. They were trying to jockey for position, trading chops in the corners as well. Ashley then hit a snapmare for a pin attempt out the corner. Ashley then hit Le Pas de Chat for a pin attempt. Listen, you see, the French is coming back. You see, it's coming back. All the memories. Then Ashley she was just hitting all the moves. She goes, La Tour de Cou for another pin attempt. You see it. And then Layna caught Ashley with a clothesline, back elbow, and then a spine buster for a pin attempt. I thought that was very cool sequence. Then she hit a neon light suplex for another pin attempt. And then Ashley eventually hit La Grande Bombe for the win. watching this back, like, what were your favorite parts? From both of you, what did you think?
It made me really want to go back and watch the full match. So which episode? Well, I'll ask you all later about that. But it was a very like action-packed highlights, and so I was really pleased with it. They got a lot in, so I want to go back and see the match in its entirety.
It's really good. Yes, when I will look it up and I will get you the episode because I do think it's worth watching. It was so good. Then we have a question from Alyssa Marino. Coming out of this match, how are you feeling? And she basically said, she was feeling strong, night and day compared to the first match that she had. Knows Layna had more experience than Tootie, but worried less about her style and more about the power she wanted to exert in the match, which I thought was a great way to look at it. And she also went into this match undefeated. So she was on a roll for that first half of when she first came to Women's Wrestling Army. What were your thoughts on her response to, her match with Layna?
Oh, I thought you were going to go first. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I thought I thought it was great. Never mind.
You're good. No, you're good. Sometimes, like, if it's behind it, I'm like, I don't know if I'm frozen, so I'm trying to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to fix my internet, and that's what's happening over here. But yes, ditto. Whatever you guys are saying, I agree. I'll pop in if I don't.
It got real Spider-Man meme over here.
So let me see. So now we go into Ashley versus Trish Adora. I was really excited when I first heard that we were going to be able to see this. I was like, because I love me some Trish and I love me some Ashley. So I was like, yes, give it to me. Let me see here. Even though she didn't win, she left this match feeling more inspired, is one thing she said, which I thought was really cool of her to say, because it felt like she had so much like high regard for Trish, which makes sense. I mean, she's really good in the ring. But I like that she said that, like, even though this was the match that she lost, this was when she, ended her, winning streak, but she felt like she gained the most from it. I thought that was cool. So Alyssa asked, did that affect how she planned to handle things in the ring? And she basically said that when she watched the match between Deonna and Trish, that both of them inspire her. And kind of like she wanted to take notes in the moment of it happening. And then she was like, oh no, I'm next. I thought that was so crack me up. I think that's the perfect response when you're about to face Trish Adora. I'm next. What were your thoughts on that? Like how she was so real about it. Like I love that.
I love Trish Adora. I think, in my opinion, I think she's probably the best women's wrestler that doesn't have a TV contract right now. And she's only getting better now that she's a member of New Japan Academy. And yeah, and honestly, I think Ashley knows that. Like I said, she's only been wrestling for 2 years. And I think that everybody who wrestles Trish Adora comes out a better wrestler just because she's just that good. And so she knew that, is she probably going to get the win? No, but is this going to elevate me and make me a better wrestler? Absolutely. And so I think she definitely went into it with the right headspace because, yeah, like I said, Trish Adora is one of the best wrestlers in the world right now, like, period.
Yeah. I'm going to have to agree with that. I think she's fantastic. And you're right. She was great before and now training with New Japan. Like now it's great. Like, I'm like, where's the contract? Honestly, what are people waiting for? Because what are people waiting for is all I will say. Yeah, even seeing her like at Hood Slam in Vegas, like she was just so good. And and you're right, Lyric, that like anyone that goes up against Trish Adora, no matter if they win or lose, like they're gonna come out better for it. Period.
Exactly. So we get into this match. We have Ashley D'Amboise versus Trish Adora. Right away, we have a test of strength. We then get a Northern Lights by Trish with a quick pin attempt. Back and forth trading holds. I'm getting the call. Ashley kind of wrenched Trish's arm over the ropes at one point. Ashley then hit La Tour de Cou on Trish. I love that move. We then had her try to get Trish off of the ropes, but Trish fights until Ashley hits a neck breaker. Ashley hit a snapmare, then delivered a painful kick to Trish's spine, then locked in a submission. After that, Ashley tried pulling Trish up, but Trish reverses and twists her arm, like cut her shoulder into the mat. Like it looked brutal. And then Trish hit multiple chops on Ashley, then a pump kick into a senton for a pin attempt. Moving on to that, we then got they were trading waist locks into a suplex from Trish for another pin attempt. Ashley hit a backslide for a pin attempt again, which Trish followed up with her own pin attempt, and then a backbreaker. Trish then out of nowhere hit Lariat Tubman.
Hey,
I love that. What were your thoughts on this match?
fantastic. 10, great, amazing. I could watch that Lariat Tubman all day. It just makes me feel free.
Let's go with the Lariat Tubman. Let's go. I just want to hear Alyssa say that every time.
I want her to name her entire moveset after civil rights.
Truly.
Like,
because
I want a Martin Luther King forearm smash. Like, give it to me. Give me like a Rosa Parks seatbelt pinfall. Like, I need
exactly.
I just want it all. I just love it.
I have a dream snapmare.
Yes,
like, right? Like, let's go, because I
John Lewis power driver. Woo!
The by any means necessary senton. Let's go.
Woo!
No, we're giving away
The
our
Black Lives Matter backbreaker. Ooh, the black breaker. Ooh.
Come talk to us. Come see about us,
Yes.
because
I hope she's wrestling on Juneteenth. I need to see it.
listen, and she always got the colors on. Let's go.
You know what? Hitting the Lariat Tubman on Juneteenth is such a power move, actually, now that I think about it.
Absolutely.
You ain't lying. You ain't lying.
I would like to see it.
Would love it. So wait, before we head out of here, you had asked about where you can see these matches, and I forgot I wrote them down. So for all of you, if you have not watched any of these matches, please check out Ashley D'Amboise versus Tootie Lynn Ramsey, episode 6, which is the Queen versus Demon, the iconic episode with Queen Aminata and Janai Kai. So please check that out. To see Ashley versus Trish Adora, that is episode 13. Bring in the flavor. And then Ashley versus Layna Lennox is episode 11. And I don't have a name for that. And I don't know. No. Did I get it wrong? Maybe I got them wrong. I got them mixed up. Anyway, Ashley versus Layna is episode 11. Ashley versus Trish is episode 13. Ashley versus Tootie Lynn Ramsey is episode 6. So please go check those out. They're good.
She's amazing, isn't she? Amazing.
No, y'all are wait, hold on. Wait. Okay, you know what? We gotta work on it. Is there anything that either of you would like to add before we get out of here?
Well, I'm just going to go over the last 2 questions Alyssa asked.
Yeah, we got more questions. Look at me. I'm trying to wrap up the show.
It's only 2. It's okay.
I'm so sorry.
But basically, Alyssa said, how do you feel like you've changed as a competitor since that first meeting? She said much more ring awareness. Says Trish is very controlling in her matches. So once you lose that control, it's hard to get it back. She also, another question was, where do you go from here to change the tide in women's wrestling army? And she said it depends on who's next on the card. Each competitor is so different. Trish is so intellectual with it. She wants to pick her brain. There's a lot of Trish love, like, you know, and I get it, honestly. And I feel like Trish is such a technical, like, wrestler. Like, I feel like technical wrestlers are the ones that love the most to be in control, like, for sure. What were your responses to this before we get into, you know, talk, you know, letting know where everyone can find us?
I think it's just great. I think that Ashley has a lot of self-awareness, and I always think that wrestlers, particularly wrestlers who are young in their career, the more self-aware that you are, the more willing that you are to criticize yourself, and the more willing you are to learn. That means a much bigger upside for your career. So I think she's going to go very far as long as she continues to have that perspective.
Killing me. I love you. All right, so now where can we find? I'm gonna go with Lyric first. Where can we find you?
You can find me on the Twitters at Lyric Wrestling. You can find me on the Instagram and the Twitter at Lyric Swinton. I have 2 Twitters because all my real friends, not saying my wrestling friends aren't my real friends, but like all the people who know me in real life, I don't think they want to see 100 tweets a day of me talking about professional wrestling. So that's where you can find me, and you can find my podcast on anywhere there's podcasts, Maps and Graps.
You can find me. You can find me on Twitter at Aisha Watches. I'm the same as Lyric. I got 2 Twitter accounts, but you know, my other one, it's basically for archival purposes. I'm hardly ever over there. It's just to keep the name. It's just so I can have my first and last name. But you can find me there at Aisha Watches. I tweet about stuff that I'm watching for the most part. And if I know a couple of you have found me on Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram. If you just search my name, it'll come up. I don't usually promote my Instagram just because it's like separate. It's my separate life. But you're more than welcome to follow me there. It's totally fine. And you can also find me. Well, first of all, you can find Lyric writing wonderful articles for Women's Wrestling Talk. So please go check those out. They are like wonderful. I'm like, oh, this is very extensive. Lots of research. So you can find those there. You can find me. Yes, you can find me starting this Sunday, June 18th at, you know what? It's coming. The stuff is coming out for our Sunday recap for AEW, Rampage, and Collision. The debut of Collision. I'm really excited about that. So, me, along with the Dynamite Dolls, Al and Mika, we will be there Sunday. Cocktails and Collision. I'm claiming that right now, babes. I'll be there with the mimosa. And we're going to talk about it. So yeah, that's where you can find me. Sorry, that was really long. Shay, where can we find you next?
You could never talk long. You can find me at Shay Sawyer _ on most things, everything. And then you can also catch me in an hour for NXT, and I will tell you the entire list because it's too much right now. Well, that is it. This is Ashley D'Amboise, Close Up. Mm-hmm. Any final thoughts, like Jerry Springer?
Final thoughts. Listen, rest in peace, Jerry. You know what? Rest in peace. I know it's been about a month or two, a couple months. Rest in peace, Jerry. Follow Women's Wrestling Talk on all the platforms, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitch, on YouTube, and Spotify. And see all the wonderful stuff that we're doing, all the amazing interviews. I think that's all I got.
Well, on that note, we will see you next week. And I believe next week is Close Up Tasha Steelz, right? I believe it is. That's what we'll be back with. So have a good day, everyone. Drink water, be blessed, all the good stuff.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.